As the way of technology, this is becoming a two-part video because we lost the internet in the middle of the last one. We have 10 minutes of the part one. We had gotten through a lot of the basics, so I do encourage you to go back. We'll make sure to link that here in the YouTube to make sure you guys can see. You can see we're back up on the TikTok. We're going to zoom in like we always do. You guys are going to be able to be part of the conversation. Apologies for the disruption. We were getting a few people in here. I hope that you all get to see it later. We did give it a shout out onto the Fet Life to let everyone know of our mishaps. With that said, I want to get back into it. We're going to just do this. This is an evergreen video, as they call it. So that means that there will be an audience later down the road. So, and we can point it to them. So let's do this. We were talking basically about kindergarten rules when we were interrupted. That the kindergarten rules you learn: don't touch what's not yours, don't touch people, don't touch things, don't take pictures of other people, which I think is something they actually talk about in kindergarten now, believe it or not. And we were talking about not using your phone. I'm not going to touch my phone because that's when everything went haywire before. So we're just going to leave it laying there right now. Don't take pictures of people. Seriously, don't do it, whether it's at a munch, whether it's at an educational class, or whether it's at a play party, before the play party. I have seen where people thought it was a great idea to pose for pictures, and it is not. It is simply not a great idea to pose for pictures when you're in a community event, because you don't know how far and wide that's going to go. We were talking about the lack of privacy in the communities as well, and I want to quickly bring that back up. You're all doing a shitty job. Gossip is violating people's consent because they're not consenting for their information to be out there. Now, if they're an educator, if you're talking about something in a positive light, or you're talking about something that they have publicly denoted and said, I don't know if denoted is the right word, have noted publicly and have put out for public release, that's not gossip. Gossip is defined by things that you've heard that a lot of times gossip isn't even verified, because if it was verified, you'd be giving out information. It's okay to share consent violation issues if you know that you're speaking from a factual place, which means that you had to have heard it directly from the victim. If you haven't heard it from the victim and you feel it is of a necessity to share it with the caveat, I have not been able to verify this. Someone I know who I trust said this is it, and I think it's important to warn other people. Other than that, saying who broke up with who, who's fighting with who, who's in whose nerves, that is all gossip, and it hurts the entire community. Let us move on quickly now that we've gotten that underway and talk about the phone dangers. We were talking about a phone camera, right? Shouldn't take them out at any events. And again, this is all the general behavior. You go back to the first video and you'll see it. And a lot of these behaviors travel throughout it all. I want you to understand we're starting here right now with the single behavior of everything, like singular behaviors that go to every aspect. So the things we're declaring here affect the other two events. All of them are still running. So these general community boundaries, behaviors, go throughout the entire community and all the events within. Phone numbers have the ability to show someone exactly who you are on social media because our numbers are connected to our social media profiles. Keep that in mind when you're giving out your number. You've now allowed them to see you on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram. Be very careful with that. It might not be the profile you wanted. It might not be the one where you don't show your face, or it could be your very professional profile. So be mindful of that. We did have someone mention using a Google phone number is a good way to kind of sidestep that risk. I wouldn't do that personally. I don't give out my number if I don't think that you should know me on social media. So what I'll do generally there is tell you to reach out to me on Instagram. Oh, not Instagram, really, honestly. I would say to reach out to me on FetLife or reach out to me on TikTok. All right, so we got there. RSVP harassment. Anyone, let me just declare this. Anyone who goes out and hits on everyone going to an event, copy and paste the message, is doing a form of harassment that is unnecessary and unwanted in our communities. You are, again, these events are not for your personal dating pool, nor are they for you to get laid. It is gross. It is like you having a picture of your Richard, and I only have to say it that way because we are also still on TikTok and not trying to piss off the TikTok bosses, no matter what country they live in. So you know what I mean by their Richard. And if you don't know Richard, think of Tricky Dick Nixon. That's what Richard's short for. So, yeah, those pictures, unwarranted, unnecessary. They don't need to especially be a profile picture, and you don't have to hold that small thing like it's something to show off. It's not. It's not Jaws. It's a minnow. Thank you all for making me feel more confident about my size, because all of you on FetLife have really proved that microscopes will never go out of fashion. No more excuses. Let's stop making. I'm so tired of excuses. So tired of excuses for bad behavior. So tired of people having bad behavior and people being like, "Oh no, you have to understand. They didn't know any whatever bullshit." You've been to school. You've been to college. You've been to have you watched the news? People get canceled for showing dick pics. All these bad behaviors are because no one holds them accountable. We need a DM, which is a dungeon monitor, not a fucking master. What are they a master of? You telling me I enter into a club, a place, they're suddenly my master? Bullshit. A DM is a dungeon monitor because they're supposed to be monitoring the environment, monitoring to make sure everyone is okay. That is the point. They do know better. Do not make excuses. Do not make space. They know better. They know better. They know better. They know better. And I have a lot of notes, so you have to excuse me. And there are no get out of jail cards free. You don't get to you don't get to be like, "Oh, you don't understand. I didn't know this." I had a person who ran around telling everyone a story about how he had to admonish someone who took a picture of him while he was doing a class, and he had to take him aside and tell him all about that. That same person would take pictures of me and my partner playing, and this person called themselves a friend. Me and my partner have never seen those photos to this date. How icky and gross. There are not enough showers to not feel taken advantage of in that moment. So, and this is someone who didn't ask and did it from afar. If there was a DM that night, there could have been a better solution. Because the DM would have went up and been like, "I don't care if they're your friends. No one told me you're taking pictures." And that's exactly how that should go down. Not having DMs leads to consent violations. So if you're running an event, please have a DM. Your roles honorifics are not an excuse or permission to apply those to those who haven't negotiated and consented to it with you. Use diaper. Did I ask permission extensively with representation? Only when you get the thumbs up do you have the ability to ask for consent and then get consent. Through the process of diaper, if you don't usually get shit on you, but you're still not guaranteed consent until you turn around to the person and say, "Of sound mind, do you consent to this?" You don't have to say the sound mind thing. It was just one of those things I threw in there, but you do have to ask. By the way, Doms, here's your little giveaway for diaper. The representation part should be you asking them, "Hey, what are the risks we're about to do today of the scene?" Even your dynamic. Make sure you're asking if you're building a dynamic with her. What are the risks of this dynamic? What have you signed up to have done? In reverse, if you're submissive and you're playing with someone, ask them about their experience. This is the moment. What exactly is your experience level? Not how long you've been in the community, because you could have been in the background for 10 years on AOL, to MSN, to Yahoo groups, to all the way. And I know that's further than 10 years ago. I'm just making my point. You could have been on different sites. There have been many. But until you've actively been part by doing something and actually building the skill and knowing the technique and going to classes, that is when practical skills matter. I notice I didn't say it doesn't count that you're in the community. I'm telling you to ask for the technical aspect of it. See what they really know. See when they started to know it. It matters, I assure you. So those are all the general. With the now first video, that these two will be merged by having links in the two of them in the comments section, which means by the time you're watching this on YouTube, this will have been the video right next to it, right underneath it. It's really that simple. Sometimes these take a little while to fully cook in the background before I can start sharing and linking them. I don't know why. That is completely a YouTube thing, but it's there. It's up there, I promise. Now we're going to go to the munch behaviors. So now remember, all of these behaviors are still actively in your mind. I want you to keep them. It's not active consent or anything. These I want to actively still exist. That just because we're going to munch and I don't read that general's all there. Quick recap of the general. And there is no such thing as active consent. There either is consented to or there is not. And consent comes with an expiration. By the way, if you consent something to a scene, once the scene is over, that consent goes away, just so you all know. All right, so really quick, We don't sexualize kink or BDSM. BDSM is not inherently sexual. Consent always matters. Consent is never enacted through attending something, meaning you going somewhere does not mean you have consented to any type of behavior, except for the fact that you'll be exposed to kinky conversations. Read all the places you're going to make sure that you know what the event is about and what you'll be exposed to. You can't get mad if you're exposed to sex, and BDSM. If that was what it said, you're going to hear that. But if you go to an event that is supposed to be about, for example, electric play, and someone starts talking about heavily sexualated motive things, you have every right to be pissed off and feel like your consent is being ignored, let alone violated through content that you did not consent to seeing or hearing about. Privacy is key. Protect your community by not gossiping or letting anyone know anything you know unless you ask the person, is it okay to share this information? Events are not meant to be a meat market, as some people call it, or is a place for you to play pickup games. Some events might allow it. Check with the events. They are not intentionally made, though, just for you to find someone to play with for a night. As a matter of fact, I'll say this. BDSM requires more steps than any sexual encounter you'll have. There aren't any one-night kinky stands. While we do pickup play, it's consented to. It just doesn't happen magically. And if it does, it's a very dangerous thing. And people have not properly followed the protocols and gone over all the things like their risk profiles. And consent has not been activated by either party if it's just happening because people can't control themselves. That's actually an icky thing. Phone numbers are very dangerous if you give out your phone number. Don't do it. People can kind of track you with that in the real world. Don't take pictures again. Don't touch what's not yours. RSVP harassment is when someone goes around and tries to hit on everyone who's going to an event. It is why all of the events that I have in my local slice of the community that I run turn off the ability to see who's even going. We've had issues. Don't have time for that tonight. And your roles, calling yourself the community brat, is bullshit. How do I know? Try to think of it this way. If someone walked into a room and said, I'm the community master, they would be laughed out of the room. People would hate them, would tell them to get lost. Savvy? Do I have to say that more? If I do, by the way, ask questions as we're going. I will stop and address them. They will not wait to the end. Anyone who makes a comment while they're watching live will get answered. If you're watching this later, as a pre-recorded event, leave it there. I will, if I get notified, because sometimes YouTube's weird about that, but if I get notified, and I try to check in for the first week a couple times, see if there's anything I missed. There we go. So we're going to go over Munch. Munch, do not derail topics. If the topic tonight is fire play, don't go in there and be like, I don't want to talk about fire play. Let's talk about pet play. No heckling, no making jokes, no disrupting the event. There is, I like personally when I run events, a nice participation from the people, the Kinksters, who are not just in attendance, but I hope they participate with me, believe it or not. So I'm a big fan, but find out if some other people are. Remember, not everyone is neurotypical. Some people are neurodivergent, and to be able to get out what they need to say, it's not that they don't want to stop. It's just the best way for them to go to point A to point Z. And you don't even have to be neurodivergent for that. Some neurotypical people really need to get through it. It's just a comfort thing. So let's go over these really quickly. Calling out a community role. I'm the leader of this. No, you're not. No one's a leader. No one's elected anyone. You put on events. You're a facilitator. You're a promoter. You might own a space. That does not mean you're leading anyone. As a matter of fact, you should be setting the example. But very often, especially here in Florida over the last year, we have learned anyone who called themselves a community leader, anyone who owned a space, anyone who is an educator, and I say this knowing that my title as Kink Educator was more dangerous than the average person going when we heard about the numbers that they affected. The people also looped in with them were very dangerous. The cool kids table seemed to be a huge problem. And by the end of 2025, many of them have been removed from communities and people have been asked to go away. So 2026 is a year of what I'm hoping is growth. I'm hoping it's going to be healing. I'm hoping that we have a positive jump off point starting in 2026. A lot of people in this time of the year kind of go hibernate to go be with family. I don't know why. New York City, this one's for you. I know you guys get crazy till January. January, February is like downtime in the community. And that's because it's so cold up in New York. Those that do go a lot, though. They go hard. We went over gossip just really quickly. Gossip can be detrimental to consent violations if you guys are helping to spread misinformation. Misinformation makes it a he said, she said, and where there is no court, there are no appeals. And the choice to believe the predator over the victim is one of the ugliest things we do. Everyone's like, you're innocent until proven guilty. Where will they be proven guilty? We can't go to the court. We're all told to stay away from the cops. You shouldn't, by the way. Let me say this very loudly. If you feel like you have been assaulted and you think that they need to be held accountable, call 911. Period. Do it. Could it hurt the community? Who gives a fuck? Someone hurt you. Please do what you need to do. Pronouns matter. I try to be funny. I try not to always make this stuff serious. And one of the things I have been kind of debating is that I'll go around a table and I'll ask everyone their name and their pronouns, right? And I used to be like, mine is he, him, and asshole. I thought that was funny. And no one has come up to me directly and called me out on it. But I noticed some eyes. I heard it too. I heard it. This is a moment where I'm trying to be supportive. And it is meant as a throwaway hee funny, like I'm an asshole, haha, get it? Like self-deprecating humor. But it also takes away from the moment where someone who looks like me, a middle-aged white man, just taking it 100% serious, saying he, him would mean more. And I have to recognize that, and I have to build the spaces that I want to be part of, and I want the people I love to be part of. So I will no longer be doing that. And with that, I will say that I'm talking about community behavior. I get things wrong all the time. I'm not trying to make everyone a bad guy. Some of the things we're talking about should be very obvious. Some of them can be a little bit murky. Sometimes the things we say, we don't realize it. We get excited. And when it even comes to talking at events, when you're talking out loud about your partner, sometimes you could say something that really isn't anyone else's business. You forget that you're in public. You forget there might be people who aren't your closest of friends who would love you no matter what you say, as long as it wasn't harmful or hateful towards others. And then there are people who could be in these events that are brand new and they're still not comfortable with everything. It's why we don't scream across the room, this slut. It's why we don't say, oh, hello, all you deviant freaks. Not everyone wants to be called that. Not everyone thinks those are great. I personally like the name freak, but I've heard a lot of people say they don't like freak because, of course, this comes from the whole vanilla thing. And while I argue there are more kinky people than there are actually vanilla people in the world, and some studies would actually back that up, we're still at a point where we are pointed out and said, ew, this is why I have made up the Canilla. Canilla is a person between vanilla and fetish. And I know you're thinking the Canillas must not be as bad as the vanillas. No, the Canillas are worse because they'll show up in our places, they'll come to our events, and then they're the ones who will go to the water cooler and be like, I saw Janet at this thing. I did it as a joke for my husband. We thought it would be really funny. And then we saw Janet, and this is what happened to Janet. You should have heard how she reacted. Those people get us in the most bullshit because they're the ones most likely to out us. And if I have to explain what outing out of the dungeon is, you should not be on my channel. You should be reading all the 001s and the BDSM 101s in the playlist. You can be on my channel, don't get me wrong. I mean, be on this. This is too advanced for you right now. You need to go all the way back. And for just clarity, outing is when someone tells people in a public space that are not tied to this kink. And again, we talked about gossiping, not tied to the kink lifestyle, and goes, yeah, they're into some freaky shit. They're in some stuff. I've been outed by family. I've been outed by managers that I worked with. I've been outed by fellow employees. I have been outed by students, friends. The list goes on and on and on. So we're going to quickly move on to our next thing. So I feel like I'm harping on this. A new acronym for you guys all to enjoy. HIPAA. Language matters, by the way, even before we get there. Language matters even if they are just... language matters even if they are your friends. We were talking about this, calling across the room, hey, you slut, thanks for coming. You could have made a lot of people uncomfortable. They don't know you. And it takes time to get to know you. And let me know, I am the person of 1,000 bad first impressions. People do not like me on first impressions. I am the thing that people warm up to because there are things and ways I act. He comes off really aggressive. He must be mean. No, he's just born in New York. Aggression and quick talking is New York. Oh, he always does these jokes that I don't think are funny, and they might not be. I said it the other day that sometimes when people say things about you, you should take them serious if they're not lies, even if they're just their opinions, and hear how they felt, because you really are probably making people feel the way they're saying. Now, could they just be more sensitive than anything else? That's when you tag in someone you know who'll look at you and talk to you straight, won't take your side, and isn't trying to butter your ass like you're a turkey. So, because that's what a person not listening is, a turkey. So language does matter. Now, the new acronym for privacy is HIPAA. That's right. I did it. So, hugely important privacy permission absolute. So, hugely important privacy permission absolute. In other words, to give any private information, you must have absolutely gotten consent. You protect privacy of these people in the community at all times and at all costs, because people can lose their children, lose their job, lose their career. They can lose a lot, and we don't want anyone else to lose anything else, especially in this current day and age where the witchcraft trials are just days away. McCarthyism revisited. Even the German army scares me that it looks like that's beginning to happen in the United States. Forget it's beginning to look like Christmas, it's beginning to look a lot like dictatorship. And what do you think will happen if this country were to fall to dictatorship with our community? Think they're going to let us be who we are and just ignore us? No, they'll come for us next. I assure you, we're on the list. They're just starting higher on the list, but we're on that list. We're always the forgotten community. We're the one that no one takes really serious until they want to beat someone up. And there's never protections for this community. That brings us to going out to a class. Because I was just a munch. These are classes. Again, do not derail the conversation or the topic. Roles aren't communal. You are not the brat of the community. You're a brat of maybe someone. You're not the master. You're not even a little. I love littles. I love littles and middles. But far too often, people go into spaces that they have not negotiated with and act away and use, I'm a little, where I can't control myself. No, you're a predator, consent violator, or just not a safe person to be around because you don't understand community, communal idea that there is no consent unless the event itself was like an age play and it's encouraged to be into the role. If that is fully understandable, but you don't get to do that at a munch nor a class. And I do call people out. I'm like, I didn't negotiate with you, and maybe it's the New Yorker in me. And again, this is why sometimes people don't like me. But I will say we didn't negotiate. I have not consented to you doing that. And that is gross that you would instantly think because you have a title you can do it. Because I always go back to if a master walked in with a flogger, a crop, a whip, and said, "I am the master. If anyone doesn't agree with what I'm doing, I'm going to start spanking people." It's the same shit. It's the same shit. You're not allowed. Newbie rule: don't call out newbies. Don't. When someone is identified as new in the community, if there is a predator, and let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you know a predator right now in this community. We don't do a great job of weeding them out. You know someone, they could even be a friend of yours. And everyone expects a predator to be this really awful person, look aggressive, have tattoos. As a matter of fact, people would look at me wanting me, like if I was going to say anyone looked like a predator, it'd be him. Meanwhile, the predators are often the people, the players, remember, the ones who are the most crafted at talking, the narcissists, the people who know how to get you to lower your guard. Those are more often the predator than anyone that looks big and intimidating and scary. Those scary people are usually the ones who will put the predator's lights out. As it turns out, most big people got bullied, and they don't like bullies, and they like to bully bullies back. And I know that's a kink on FetLife, but it is true in real life too. Not to say that FetLife, like the lifestyle isn't real life. I mean, FetLife's not a real place. Half of those people are full of shit, acting in a way that they'll never back up in person. Don't take it serious. Troll be trolling. Calling out roles as excuses. You enter. Oh, we already talked about that one. Heckling jokes, unnecessary, especially at educational events. Jokes that are for the whole class is fine, but when you're sitting there with someone else and be like, oh my God, I would never. I'm the type of teacher who will be like, I'm sorry, would you like to say that out loud? Oh, you don't have to be aggressive. Oh my God. I love the people who are like, I don't see a big deal. And I'll be like, I'm the big deal. Deal with me now. And when I say that, suddenly people get quiet. So it works. Use it, ladies and gentlemen. Most people are passive aggressive. And if you are just, I would say, someone who holds accountability, brings accountability, and gets accountability going, you're going to get them in a different mindset. Remain calm. Even when you're giving someone information they're not listening, obviously not listening. The people who think kerosene is the same thing as white kerosene or white gasoline. And these are all things that get confused, and I've heard it all said. Don't yell at someone. A lot of people have learned it the wrong way, going back to the DM thing. Oh, it's a dungeon master. No, it's not a fucking dungeon master. What's it doing? Beating up the fucking furniture? No. Dungeon monitor. Unless you're playing D&D, or if we could get someone to do a D&D game that was actually played out in the dungeon of torture. I don't know why, but that feels really good. Where both participants kind of get to say something, and like if you can gag the other partner and get the roll, they can't have the gag removed until they roll better. And like they would roll not with actually dice, but we'd have them hit like okay, I'm going off on a rant, but if you're interested, inbox me. All right, so save questions for after the aftercare. So if you see someone who just had a great scene, you know not to interrupt them, right? And this was put in the K-EDU class on purpose, because even when the teacher is done, the educator, don't run up to them. Don't instantly surround them. Don't get in their face. Give them a minute. If they've just been talking, especially if they had a guest on, form an orderly line. Show them respect. Wait for this second and ask, hey, can I actually have a minute of your time when you're done? Red Flag Toys said, by the way, I built a dice-based scene. I've seen some actual games too, not as kinky as anyone would really want it to be, but I'd be interested in whatever the materials you have. Please send it my way. I would definitely love to play a game like that. Do you want to play a game? I think of Triple H, but I know some people will think of Saw. So that's it. Anyone have any questions about the kinky classes, behavior? You would think this is all very obvious, but it's not. Q has a comment from us out in the land of the tube, the YouTube. We did D&D in the dungeon before. Gags, binding, and damage all dealt by the dungeon master. Not the DM, but the actual DM for D&D, who is the third person. That's kind of cool, but I think the submissives would get more out of that. Damn it, I want to wield the power. You'd really have to play with people that knew the roles and were okay with, like, if I even had to take a reversal cane hit, I would do it. Thank goodness for nerve damage sometimes. But I would live with it. I actually I went to a cane class, really quick story. And someone very good, I don't have permission to say their name, but very good at what they do. They are very known in the community. And they were like, can I have a volunteer? And my partner had just been up there, and they were feeling the effects. No one wanted to volunteer, so I said, fuck it, I'll do it. I walked up, and they were like, can you pull down your pants? And I was like, buy me dinner first. Anyway, they hit me the first time, and I'm like, did someone open the door? I kind of, let's say, we did 5 more. And I was like, okay, that one hurt. At the very end of it, I was like, that one registered. I had marks for like a week. All right, so we were done with the in-person. I gave you guys a few extra minutes to answer anything you wanted to do. I love that idea. Q says we had It's set up with red, green cards to indicate if someone wanted to participate. That's kind of cool. I would love to be a fly on the wall and set something up. I do eventually plan to set up my own play parties when everything falls into line. With being able to do it, there's a lot in flux where I am right now, so never say never, but don't say too soon. Dungeon play parties and communal behavior. Now, remember, this is after a week of talking to everyone. This is about having these open conversations. This is listening to people, the DMs, the comments, and everything, and whittling this down to what was fair for every people. We didn't talk about the voice volume, by the way. That's on me. I did forget that. The way you speak in these events is important. Do not try to get attention. Do not try to be the loudest person. And for those who, the real will know what I mean, the people who show up to those events and you can tell they're over vocalizing what they're feeling and they're trying to get attention. We call these people lovingly attention whores. And by lovingly, I mean they annoy the shit out of us when we're all trying to have a scene and then someone sounds like they're trying to be Harry Met Sally at Cat's Deli. If you know, you know. If you don't, I'm sorry, guys. I can't explain every joke. We got places to be. So there we go. Dungeons and play partners. By the way, before we finish this last part, we are inviting you all over to YouTube. At the end of these programs at YouTube on Kink Educator, we get to be a lot more honest. We don't have to play word games, and it's a deeper conversation every time. I invite you all there. I would start switching over now. If you have a YouTube ready, get over there. We're going to have that conversation. So we're going to pretty much end this program within 10 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I can land it. So if you have an additional comment or anything like that, please put it in the chat now so I can say it on the way out. Here we go. Roles aren't communal. I kept reminding everyone of that because just because someone's a master doesn't mean they get to go up to someone and say something. And this also is if you're just a human talking to another human being, and someone comes up to you and says, "You're not allowed to talk to my woman," or whatever they identify as. You nicely say to that person, no, that's your dynamic with them. We don't have a dynamic. And the way you're treating me right now, assuming I have to play by your rules, says that me and you will never have a dynamic other than disliking each other. Don't extend your personal playtimes and your rules and your ambitions into a public space. That's gross. Kindergarten rules: no touching, no name calling. Don't sit there and be a fucking commentator in the room. If you're going to be close to someone, be very careful with not only how close you are, but the volume of your voice. These are play spaces. You technically, I know party events that you're not allowed to get within 20 feet of an active scene, unless it is a really tight quarters. Paddles sometimes had that problem where there was this one cross and people wanted to go over there. And there was nothing wrong with it if they stayed quiet. But you get the people who would think they can walk anywhere and you're in their way despite you being set up and playing. I don't know. Some people I know will allow an implement to hit the person. Two things I have against that. One is that you're getting your implement potentially dirty. You don't know where these people have been. Icky people. They can't even follow the rules. And number two, by doing that, it could erupt into a problem that you now have to deal with instead of focusing on your partner. And in those moments, you should only be focusing on your partners. Don't touch. Don't interrupt. Don't get too close. Don't ask questions. Don't put commentary. Do not be a problem. Because trust me, there are a lot of dominants that are good at solving problems. They have brats. You're going to be nothing to deal with to them. No pics. No pics. Nope, don't do it. Don't take pictures unless, first off, most venues don't allow you to take a picture. They have to take the picture for you, or they have to watch you take the picture. But many places simply no. You're not even allowed to take your phone at many places that I frequent. And then there are other places where I have had my pictures, I've had my consent violated and the pictures taken, and I have no access to this, and I have no idea where they are. I don't necessarily care as much. My partner is not that far out, and I would not be surprised if I see their pictures one day across the internet, because the person who did it's kind of creepy, kind of sus. It's no until after diaper. And I do this specifically. For those who don't know what diaper is, we'll go over it again. Diaper is, did I ask permission? Extensively representation. I love when people answer that before I can even read it out loud during some of these lives, when people will be like, what's diaper? Remember, did I ask permission is paused until extensively. Yes, extensively. I was like, did I count right? Am I missing a finger? Extensively is and I'll read it to you. These are just some of my favorite things that you need for your scenes. You have to ask through negotiation and conversation and communication about the risk profiles you're both willing to accept, your play profiles, your safety protocols, your medical histories, your aftercare needs. And remember, aftercare begins in the negotiation. It gets set up before the scene, it's done after the scene, and it's followed through until you've checked in on them at least 3 times. The first time you should be checking in on this next day. How you doing? Okay, good. Depending on how the check-in is, you're either going to tell them, okay, well, I'm going to reach out to you in 2 more days. If things aren't going good, you're going to have deeper conversations, ask them how you can support them, and go from there. You're going to take up those 5 check-ins with there. So we're already at the 3 check-ins, the 3 required check-ins. So you're already going to take care of 2 right there. And then the third one, if everything is still good a couple days later, just at the end of the week, hey, just checking back on you. Just wanted to make sure everything's groovy, everything's good, and that you're all good. Now, you want to make sure that you're using things like new needs, expectations, and wants when setting up your scenes, so everyone's aware of what they need from the scene, what they expect from the scene, and what they want. A need is always more important than a want, obviously, but a want is really what brings them to the yard. Is your milkshake good enough? Make sure to know what they want and what they need and what their expectations are. Use the new acronym. And make sure to establish, if this is an ongoing play situation and or dynamic, establish garage time and or porch time. It is basically the same thing. I just like garage time because you can tune up your dynamic, you can tune up your scenes. But porch time is the same thing. It's going out to the porch and having a deeper conversation. Whether you go to the garage or the porch, all roles are suspended so humans can talk to humans without repercussion, without concern. And this can always be activated. You don't have to walk into a garage. You don't have to walk in or walk onto the porch. If you have a porch, go for it. But mostly it's when you have a special code word like skeleton. When skeleton is said, it's time to get bare bones and talk about what's going on. Does something need to be fixed? Does something need to be added? Or is something just really good and you want your partner to know, hey, keep doing this. You're a stud. I don't know how stud works, but I tried. And representation is the ability to let them ask you questions, but also ask your partner a question. If you're a dominant, ask your submissive what risks are involved with what you're about to do to them to make sure they're still okay and they know what's about to happen. And if you're a submissive, ask them exactly how they know to do the shit that they said they want to do to you. And hey, just making sure you know how to drive the bus before I get on with you. All right. We are heading over now to our YouTube channel. I'm going to tell you how many minutes in right now. 44 minutes in. So I'm going to give everyone 5 minutes before we jump over entirely to YouTube. If you have a question, you can ask it now. Remember that, and this was a pretty good conversation. Next week, we're going to be talking about bratting, I think. I'll definitely fully commit come Sunday. The reason I'm not 100% committing to it right at the moment is because my throat has been killing me, and I'm trying to see if it'll kind of heal on its own. And tomorrow I'm going to be part of the No Kings protest. So I might need a couple days after that. I might not. We're going to see. We're going to play it by ear. Sunday, I will announce on the Kink Educator on TikTok. Does anyone have any questions, or does anyone want to send me some hearts? Hearts? Anyone want to send some hearts? I'm kidding. We all know that hearts aren't as much fun as hugs and spanks. All right, if you guys are done, I think we'll move over to the other channel. We're going to leave that running for just a few minutes. Hey, YouTube, start putting up those comments, concerns, questions. And if anyone wants to jump on, I can give you guys about 15 or 20 minutes of my time easily. But if we don't have anything more to talk about, I'm going to thank everyone who attended tonight. I'm going to thank you all for being part of this in this week-long thing. We started on Sunday. We went all 6 days. Yes, 6 days. And I'm willing to finish the week tomorrow by answering any questions about consent or any other questions. It never just has to be about consent. It doesn't have to be about tonight's behavior one. Because on the consent thing, you have to go all the way back to the first video on YouTube where I said if anyone had questions about consent, I would cover it at the end. But you guys are usually pretty good. I appreciate the time you've all given me, and I don't want to take from anyone else's time. So if you guys are done, I'm happy to say goodnight. We're actually going to go to YouTube and kind of switch off from showcasing the TikTok right now. And we're going to bring up trying to find the right. For some reason, my downloads are not acting the way they should. Oh, because I don't have any. I worked on my other computer, so it's not separating it by just yesterday. For some reason, it lumped it. Check out KEDUCampus.com while I'm struggling with this to see all the things that we have recently added. I'll just throw this up for the last part of the video. There it goes. And I'm going to there it goes. Okay. Disruptive community behavior. Did I miss anything? That's going to be the ongoing conversation over on YouTube. We have a comment I have on FetLife, so I'm going to go check that. I'm here for the conversation. Join us. YouTube channel, Kink Educator. I'm there for it. Let me know in the comments. And thank you to all who are leaving me messages right now. I do appreciate them. Okay, so we're out. We are officially off of TikTok. We are still live on YouTube. If anyone has any conversational needs or wants to come on, I'm going to add that link right now. I'm very happy that you're all part of us. I'm sorry this got broken up into 2 different events. That was kind of not at all expected. I'm also going to drop in our comment section right now the other part 1 that some of you might have missed because of everything that happened and was going weird for us all of a sudden out of nowhere. So, yeah, my throat is a little sore. It's been sore now for 2 weeks. And I honestly have not given it a lot of rest. I used to take a couple days off, but I've been trying not to take a couple days off. But tomorrow, it's hard because I want to stay active. I get a lot of people asking me questions. So it's always hard for me to take the moment and step back. But sometimes you got to put your health forward. But we'll see. I'm not a big idle person. You know what I mean? Like, I have been going all week. I had an what do they call it? It's not an IME. That was from my back. It is my son's educational plan, EPI or something, EIP, something PI. No, it's not PI. Either way, that was one day. Then Thursday, I was working heavy on the Kickstarter that's coming up. I don't even know how many things we're at. I ran out of time this week. Honestly, I can't believe it. I have been super busy all week, and I expected. Well, I did do this on purpose, a little bit behind the scenes. My partner has had a busy week, and I haven't really got to see them. And I decided to overbook myself this week so I wouldn't, kind of get in the feelings. It's real life. It happens. This has really been a big week. Not only did we have the weekly thing, but last week on Saturday, I had a vetting event. Only one person showed up to, and that was a good conversation last Friday. Saturday, I did something on the personal scale. Sunday, I had another great conversation, by the way. Love vetting when I meet the right people, and I've been very lucky the past couple of vetting events. People complain because I am safeguarding my slice of the community, but like, I want to meet new people. I want to hear new stories. I love perspectives from other points of view, especially when I meet people who've been around a while, have traveled around. Whenever you're in a certain area, you get the closed circuit TV of that area, if you know what I mean. And if they're not big travelers, they never get to see outside their own little bubble. And like, you would swear these people, the way they have attitudes, would think they're kings of the world. That's why I'm doing No Kings Day tomorrow. I even got in trouble for putting that on the Fet Life, but so be it. I feel like I did the event last night, Thursday. Wasn't the turnout I wanted. The people I would have wanted to go didn't show up. And later on, some of them I think will have problems, and I'm just going to shake my head. And it's so hard. You want to say I told you so for ego reasons, but more so, especially for me, you want to be like, fuck, I tried to tell you, why didn't you just fucking listen? Yeah, it's frustrating because you see, and you don't want people to make, especially not the mistakes you've made on the journey. You want people to have a better journey than you've had. But I see no one's really got any questions, so either I did my job really well or you're just tired of hearing from me. So I'm going to take this as my time to exit. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining. My name is Mister AndersiN, and I get to read you because we're on YouTube. Our official opening that I missed saying, BDSM is not inherently sexual. It is mental. We communicate, we negotiate, we conversate about the risk profiles, play profiles, safety protocols, medical history, aftercare needs, and then using the new acronym, needs, expectations, and wants, we begin to build scenes and dynamics with the goal of using diaper. Did I ask permission, extensive representation to eventually obtain consent? But first, if we're building a dynamic, we got to put it in a garage so we can have garage time, or maybe a porch so we can have porch time, so we can break out of our roles and have discussion human to human, not honorific to honorific, and work on our dynamics. Maybe it's not about making it better. Maybe it's just about making it more enjoyable in one subset. Maybe one of us is doing something that's throwing the other partner off, or maybe they want to add, or we want to add to all the great play we're having. And only after using diaper, establishing everything we have, and using a pen, those are protocols engaged via negotiation, can we get to the end of diaper to ask consent. And once we get consent, we all get empowered by the submissive and dynamic slushy that it makes. And the rewards are plentiful. Thank you for tuning in. If you want another topic, if you want us to do a topic this fall, so we've been in the K-EDU era where we've been really examining things, critical thinking them. We really got deep into some things and tore into them and kind of changed it. In the fall, we are potentially looking at narrowing certain things down. That's what I'm testing right now, giving a week for everything. If we like how this feels now, we will give a week to everything else that we want to talk about. But it might be things we typically don't talk about, like edge play. How do we do edge play on TikTok, especially the trouble we're in half the time? Let's figure it out. We might be talking about things we don't really talk about, like honorifics, the history of an honorific. Why does this honorific matter? Really deep diving, or we might go the complete opposite and use the winter semester of this all to really go backwards and discuss about things that are pertinent. Maybe we'll talk about why it's important that we do the certain things. Maybe we'll talk about history. I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. The first 2 semesters have been great. We continue to gather a bigger and bigger audience. I'm very proud, and I'm very thankful for you all. Thank you, says Slate. Says, thank you, well done and reassuring. And then the natural container said, ha, this was in my Rex. Okay. I hope you liked it. Recommend. recommended is what you mean. I appreciate you all. Hit the follow, or then no, it's not follow here, it's subscribe. Hit the subscribe button for more content like this. KEDUCampus.com. I have a Kickstarter about the world's only superhero. I'd rather be wrestling than being the world's only superhero. Coming on Kickstarter very soon. Check that out by going to and seeing all the comics I have for free, and some of the ones that are for sale if you're interested. I say start with the free stuff, see what kind of writer I really am. Test me. Over on yournewcomics.com. With that said, I have got off my soapbox, and I'm going to go out to a horror night, believe it or not. Wish me luck. I hope the zombies don't get me. Stay kinky, my friends. It's been a great conversation. Happy Fetish Friday.